Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good. I'm going to go in and just go live real quick and see if I can get this link to work to Facebook this week. We'll see if it works.
Fingers crossed.
All right, one sec. All right, it says done.
Okay.
So it says it is now streaming on Facebook. And so that means it's going into the event, which is great.
Yep.
We're going to go into speaker view. And then one favor to ask is if I go in here and I share my, I want to share my screen. Are you seeing the PowerPoint right now?
Yes.
And then if I hit play, I want to see if the audio and visual come on this.
Yes, I'm getting audio and visual.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I will pause that and then I will go here and find our packet. And all right, and then let me gallery. Every time I feel like I've gotten some little bit of confidence in Zoom, I feel like daily. However, so I can't, it's because I'm sharing right now, then probably is why I can't see everyone. So let me stop the, go to that. Okay, I just want to see smiling faces is the goal. So, hey, good morning, Josh. Hi, Amel.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. So
Good morning.
we will get started here momentarily. I'm going to go into the chat box right now. And as always, just kind of do a quick recap. And I'm going to drop the PDF version of the 6 personal perspectives. This is mindset, attitude, and approach to life, session number 5. 5? We've been doing this 5 weeks. How cool is that? And so it's a PDF that should be there and available for download so that you can catch up if you're just joining in, or you can speed up and move forward a little bit if you want to in between our sessions. So it's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to make sure that I've got my phone completely turned off so that you've got my undivided attention. And I'll go to speaker view and I'm going to share where we're at. So the 6 personal perspectives is something that came from an experiment that Gary Keller did, in which he wanted to go and he wanted to see what are the foundational perspectives to propel you to the highest level of achievement. And so when he went and he researched the most successful people, one of the things he found is that there was this specific thing that they had in common: mindset, attitudes, and approach to life. And that mindset truly is everything. And that regardless of how successful people have been, and success is what you determine it to be, right? Whatever you determine to be significant, not what everyone else says is success. Even when people have gotten to a point of success, they still struggle with mindset. And isn't that like, I find great comfort in that, that even the most wealthy of the world, the people who have the most loving, amazing relationships, people who are just truly thriving in life, all agree that it's about mindset. Mindset is the key. And when you talk to people, it's that it all comes down to how we think about ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how we think about others, how we talk to others around us. Like, it's all about where our mind is at. And so Rich Dad, Poor Dad story was inspired by Keith Cunningham, and he's got a book called The Road Less Stupid. And ultimately, I can sum it up and give you the shortest Cliff Notes version possible. It's that the most wealthy man, through all of the earning of billions and losing of billions and everything in between, when you pause and reflect and then ask him the question, looking back, what's one thing you would do different? He says, thinking time. Scheduling time in my calendar to sit down and journal my thoughts, to reflect, and then ask myself really powerful questions so that I can learn from my experiences and what they call fail forward. So as we've been going through these 6 personal perspectives, we've identified the 6. The first one is commit to self-mastery, and that's being aware of your own strengths and natural abilities and being aware of your weaknesses to the point where you can either leverage them out to other people, or you can work on them and be very specific and targeted in the abilities you don't naturally have that you want to grow in. The second is the committing to the 80-20 principle. It's that not everything that is coming at you at all times of day has equal importance. Not every call, not every text, not every notification, buzz, or beep on your phone holds equal importance. And that it's your job to set boundaries in your life, whether it be the amount of time you're spending doing a particular activity, the amount of time and energy you're investing in a particular person or relationship, that there's this 80-20 concept that shows up in every part, every aspect of our lives. The third perspective is E to P. That's moving from easy entrepreneurial, this is what just comes naturally, this is just how I am, to purposeful, which can sometimes be painful because all of a sudden you're doing things that are unnatural. You're doing things that require you to stop, pause, think, and really check yourself. And I struggle there. Like, it's so, we all want the easy way to everything, or maybe that's just me. I'm just, the lazy one in the group who just wants to take the easy road. It's easier in a heated argument to just blurt out what it is I want to say because I know that it's going to make me feel better in that moment. Well, yeah, that's the entrepreneurial, natural, this is just how I am and I'm not going to change attitude, versus I'm going to do the thing that's unnatural. I'm going to pause. I'm going to give myself time to breathe. I'm going to ask myself the question, how can I be most loving and respectful in this moment? You hear the difference? One is very easy, natural. The other is P, purposeful, and painful. Now, when you take that and apply that to your life and business, it's eating the foods that aren't always the easiest to just grab. It's taking a few moments to have to chop it and to slice it. It's What else? It's following a schedule when you're just a free spirit gypsy like me who wants to just do whatever feels good in the moment. And yet it's, no, I know that if I follow a schedule, I'll actually accomplish more in the time that I've been given. And last I checked, we all have the same amount of time that we're given in every single day, right? And so E to P is unnatural behavior that has to be created like a habit so that within your unconscious mind, it's now just something that you do. And over time, you will see the change. And then 4 was making being learning based the foundation of your action plan. So that was last week. Who was with us last week? We were talking about the courses to take, the classes to attend, the books to read, the activities that you can do to not be the know-it-all, not be that person who's always like, oh, I've already taken that class. Like anytime there's any class of any kind, I've just learned over time, I want to go to it at least 12 times. Gary Keller says, go so you could say you essentially graduated this topic or program. And one of the best ways to learn something is to teach it. And so that's where on my journey, I've learned if I really want to get good at something that I suck at, go teach a class on it. Because you know what happens? You freak out the days leading up to the day that you're teaching the topic you suck at. And you end up having to force yourself to think in a way that you don't naturally. And anyway, that gets me excited because that's ultimately the gift that's happened in my own life is I can look at all the things I suck at. I can look at all of the disabilities and all of the things that would hold me back from doing what it is I want to do. Having a learning-based mindset is everything. And then 5. We're here now today on session 5, which is remove your limiting beliefs. And this is a really powerful topic that we're going to go through in the next few moments together. Next week, we'll be talking about being accountable. And then we're going to launch into probably some different masterminds and a really fun way to follow up with each other, because there's no point in us learning all of this if we don't implement some sort of an action plan. Agreed? An action plan is needed. The most successful people, okay, we're good. One of the things that I learned in a class I took was they said, do you know why we pause and ask the question, what are your ahas? What are your takeaways? It's that if you can come to that self-realization that this is something that needs my attention and priority and energy, and then you put together an action plan that's short, it can't be more than 2 or 3 action steps. And if you take one of those tiny little baby steps in the next 24 hours, after hearing this information for the first time or being reminded of this content, if you take action on even just that first little baby step of those 3 action steps, you are more likely to achieve what it is you're wanting to go after and accomplish. Because haven't you ever stopped and seen people where, man, they are smart, like they are intelligent human beings, and yet their actions don't always necessarily line up with how smart or intelligent they are. And it's implementation. It all comes down to how fast are you willing to break this down into something so bite-sized, so simple that you could go take action on it right now. Literally get off this call and within 10, 15 minutes, go do something to take a baby step forward. So that's the 6 personal perspectives. Now we are going to scroll down and jump in to our session. All right, those are all the great classes we talked about. And here we are. Step 5, remove your limiting beliefs. So you can see that on the screen with me, everyone? Awesome.
Yes, we can see that.
It says you will need to clear your mind of limiting beliefs before you can successfully develop at a higher level. Are any of these thoughts in your head? I don't have enough time for training. COVID-19, any moms at home with kids? Hello? Yes. I can't be successful in this market, right? I mean, we could go there right now. I can't hold an open house. I can't do this or that. I can't devote 3 hours each day to lead generation. I physically can't. High achievers remove limiting beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. Redirect these negative thoughts into positive ones. You turn them into unlimiting beliefs that will fuel your success. So here's a few examples. If I put the time in for training now, I will reap long-term benefits.
Rebecca, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can we just do a reminder to everyone to please mute yourselves? 'Cause,
Awesome.
otherwise we're going to keep hearing your background noise instead of Rebecca.
Okay, cool. If I put the time in now for training, I'll reap long-term benefits in my business. A shifted market, the one we're in right now, where things are kind of in this crisis mode, are the very best opportunities to gain market share. And I can't afford to miss 3 hours of lead generation. It's my future. So high achievers take the time to think and reflect, ask themselves questions, check their head, and go, how am I talking to myself? What kinds of thoughts am I having right now? And am I limiting myself in the way that I'm in my belief system? The greatest barrier to someone achieving their potential is their denial of it. So now we're going to pop over, and this is a really great example of someone's story. So we're going to watch this video together here. Make sure that I can do this correctly. All right, so on the screen, we should have step 5, remove your limiting beliefs. Can you guys see that with me?
Yes.
Awesome, here we go.
Hi, my name is Jackie Ellis, and I'm here to talk to you about removing your limiting beliefs. Shortly after joining Keller Williams, I began attending all of the fabulous events available to us, like Mega Camp and Family Reunion. And on the stage were amazing agents openly sharing their strategies for success. And I, very much like you, would be in the audience, writing down notes and taking those strategies back to my team, which I did implement. Well, a few years after attending Mega Camp, once again in the audience, I realized as I was looking up at these amazing agents that they had fabulous businesses and that I would never have that sort of a high volume, high impact business. So when I got back into town, I took a quiet moment to myself and I took out a piece of paper and wrote a line down the middle. And on the left side, I wrote all of the things that I had going for me on my side that I could use to create one of these fabulous businesses. I had the training, and I could take the training through Keller Williams as many times as I wanted. There were models that if I just followed them, I could be a success like those on stage. And there were systems as well. After completing the left side of my page, I went over to the right side and I began to write what would be holding me back. And as I stared at the right side, I could not think of one thing to put on that piece of paper. I realized it was my limiting beliefs, my very own limiting beliefs that were holding me back. And once I removed them, there would be no holding me back. So fast forward to now, and those very agents that I saw on stage are now my friends. And I'm well on the track to one of those very businesses that I so admired. I want to know, do you have limiting beliefs? Do you recognize them? And what are you going to do to remove them?
All right, so let's jump back in to our 6 personal perspectives packet. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an activity together. It's going to require that you have a notepad of just a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. And we're going to do an activity together. So just get ready for that. It says we all struggle with limiting beliefs. And we have to continually work to remove them. This is an ongoing process. I mean, it's no different than health. You know, I could lose a bunch of weight and be super excited and have before and after pictures. However, if I don't continually choose every single day to be making better choices and healthy choices, it's not going to last. And it's the same with our head. It's the same with our thinking. So we're going to do an activity together, and I want you to think of a time in your life when you had a limiting belief you needed to remove. How did you do it? And what new successes came your way once you removed the limiting belief? So I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to make sure that I can see you all. And then if you're comfortable, I would love at least 3 volunteers to unmute yourself. And I want you to just, the first thing that comes to mind as we're talking this morning together, think of a time where you had a limiting belief and how you were able to succeed and break through it. Go ahead.
I'll jump in. So my first identification of a limiting belief came because of my exposure to Keller Williams, and it was in the context of being a brand new agent and not having any real leads to work from. So I was doing open houses, and I felt so, I mean, my lack of experience was quickly revealed in those, questions came that I didn't know the answers to. And I remember thinking that I was never going to find that opportunity, to make a sale through an open house. And then it just kind of, one day I just kind of shifted my focus from what I didn't know to what I was learning. And when I did that, it just opened up so many new channels of thinking that I was there to serve, to be a resource, and to problem solve, answer questions. And it took the focus off of what I didn't have, which I didn't have a client, to what I did have and how I could, just really be valuable, bring value to the table.
That is so good. Thank you, Tracy. That's a perfect example where when you were thinking about all the things you couldn't do or didn't know how to do, that was about you, and that's selfish thinking. Whereas you turned otherly and looked to see how you could be the connector. You could then take the question or the concern from someone, and then you could be the one to go find the resource and then connect them. And in that process, you're learning, you're growing. That's an awesome example. Thank you. Who else? Limiting belief.
I have one that's not work related.
Yeah, no, it's life, anything.
So I had always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but I just thought I wasn't musical, and that came from like messages that I got when I was younger. But I really wanted to do it, and so I took lessons from someone. And I remember him saying to me, like when I was struggling with it, he said, "It seems impossible until you do it. Just keep doing it." And I ran that through my brain every time I would have to learn something new, and it would feel like I couldn't do it. I go, "It feels impossible until you do it. Just keep doing what you know to do."
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually confidence building when you walk through that process, I think.
Absolutely. That is so good. Thanks, Erin. That's a perfect example too, is that like it I don't know the quote, but it's whatever you think, you will prove it to be true, right? So if you think it's impossible, it's gonna be impossible. And if you just say like, could this be possible? How could this be possible? Could this be possible for me? What would that look like? Then all of a sudden you've opened your mind to the possibility that it is possible, and then you have that belief that it could come true. That's awesome. Thank you. It reminds me of a couple of things. One, just how powerful it is to, at least for me, have visual reminders of things that I believe could be possible for myself. And that's the power of a vision board or prayer board. The things that you have dreamt about or the things that you desire, whether it be, this beautiful, luscious bowl of yummy fruit, or something that compels you because you just love the mountains and you want that cabin. Or Sloan is showing her vision board that she's got. Hold it there for just a second. So she's got it, right? It's sitting there on the desk. She's grabbing it right now. and is looking at it. And just like anything else in our life, there are times when we can walk right by it and not take the time to look. So do you have it on your calendar that you schedule time to look at your vision board, to be able to say out loud, to speak the things on your vision board? I'll give you an example. As I was prepping, I was like, I wanna share just a couple of things here. So let's see if this works. So can you see my vision board on the screen there? This is something that I've been doing. It's a collage that you can do physically, where you go get magazines, pictures online, print, cut, paste them onto a board. You can do them digitally as well. And I think we've even got, do we have a class on that? Or is that like one of my classes to teach? That you can make your own visual, digital vision board. And through it, it's images and pictures that only matter to you. And you're not going to be judged. No one's grading you. There is no grading system. It just is what it is. There are pictures and things. There's Tracy's, things that, just are beautiful to you, that grab your attention, that mean something to you, okay? And for the longest time, I had a limiting belief after circumstances in life that I was a single mom, and that single moms struggle, and that single moms don't ever buy houses. And I was a real estate agent who had successfully sold houses to other single mothers, and I had a limiting belief that that wasn't possible for me. And this popped up in my memories. It's pretty tiny, but there's me and my 3 kids. And 2015, I bought a house all by myself as a single mom. And it's because I started talking to other people and actually saying out loud some of the limiting beliefs that I thought were true. And it wasn't until I started sharing with other people, and they're like, Rebecca, love you, but no. And I didn't even realize you don't realize what you're thinking in your head until you find someone trustworthy, say it out loud, and then they love you enough to say, that's not truth. And I thought, it's gonna be impossible for me to find a man to love me, single mom of 3, because I've got these amazing packages that come along with me. And I don't know, it's possible if I could ever find someone that would be a true life partner, that would love and appreciate the water as much as I do. I went through bold training, and someone asked me, well, why do you need to wait until you're in your 70s to own a house on the water? What would it look like if it was possible to buy one in the next year? Less than 3 months after having that conversation and me speaking it out loud, I said, I love the water. I love being in it. I love being around it. I love boating. I'd love to have a little place. And I bought this little place for $350,000 on the water, my little piece of paradise. So I'm telling you, the power of putting things on a vision board and a prayer board are huge. I love the water. Is the water really that crystal clear? Is it really that blue? Could it be? Find a picture from a magazine and post it on a vision board, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, these things start happening. Maybe not exactly like what you were thinking. Sometimes they're better because there's other people that come alongside you and appreciate things in a different way, or that bring about, incredible experiences. Limiting belief, I don't know, what are we on, number 17? I'm a real estate agent, but I don't know about investing, and I don't know what it would take to save enough money to buy a duplex. Here's a duplex with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 storage units that are just amazing gifts, not only to the people who live there if they want them, but anyone who needs a storage unit. All of a sudden, the pictures that were on my vision board from years and years ago, and I'm talking like 8, 9 years ago, sometimes they don't happen within that year. Look back though over time and look and see all the different things that you have had on your mind, in your heart, that you put into that vision board that could absolutely become a reality. Limiting beliefs hold all of us back. And so don't beat yourself up if you're struggling with it, or you don't even know, you just feel, you feel stuck and you don't even know where to begin, okay? All right. And I do that. I mean, I hope that's helpful to kind of show you. The only way I know how is to like testify to my own experience where there were times and I just thought things weren't possible. If it wasn't for people in my life who actually loved me enough to say that's just not true. So we're going to do this exercise now. Partner, removing your limiting beliefs. Can you see this on the screen with me?
Yes.
We're not going to pair up with partners. We're going to do this as a group. And so I want you just to take a minute right now, and I want you to just close your eyes, take a big deep breath in, and let it out. And I want you to think about one limiting belief that you currently have that is just, it's something that you believe to be true that is limiting you. And so I want you to take a minute now, open your eyes, and jot that one thing down. Now, the power of a mastermind like this is that we're in a group and everyone is going to have a different perspective and a different thought around whatever that limiting belief is. And so now I need someone brave, and I want you to share with the group, unmute yourself and share with us what the one thing is. What's that limiting thing? Because now we're going to all together mastermind and come up with all the reasons why you could break through that limiting belief together.
I'll go first. Start a podcast. Like, I need to get the equipment, and so I have this excuses like, oh, well, will I do it? Will I take the time to actually edit it? Well, then, so
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Sloan. So Sloan's limiting belief is that she has the desire to start a podcast. And so that's something that is important to her. And yet she's feeling like there's these limiting beliefs that just say she doesn't know how to do it, or will she do it, or will she follow through on it. And so as a group now, unmute yourself and let's give Sloan some ideas that she can write down right now that could help her. So powerful present tense thinking of things that she could do right now to make that possible.
Well, she could look into what kind of equipment you actually need to record a podcast and publish it.
Okay, so perfect example. Erin says that she can look into the equipment that she's needing. So that's a good one. Yep. What else?
To actually look at, she mentioned editing, and look into that piece and what does she need for that? Does she need particular software? What can you do just on your own?
Perfect. Thank you. What else?
Maybe find somebody who has a successful podcast that you already maybe listen to, and email them or message them and ask them to kind of give you guidelines or tips on how to get started.
They've offered to do it for me. I'm just so silly.
So can you hear what happened? Is that even though we are all very smart, intelligent individuals, instantly our mind goes to, how can I do that? What would I need? And yet the thought that we should be having is, who has already done this? What model did they follow? What system did they use? And who did they have surrounded? Who were they surrounded by in order to make it easy for them? And that's it right there, Josh. That's it. Is that so many times we allow the how and the what to stop us, when really we can experience breakthrough by asking ourselves better questions. Who? And when should I reach out to them? By when am I going to reach out to them? And then throw in accountability around it. So if she's already identified who's done that and who's offered, then it's just a matter of, by when are you going to schedule the time on your calendar to take a baby step forward? So what's one thing that you could do today, Sloan, that would take less than 5 minutes for you to take a baby step forward towards having a podcast?
I need to just buck up and either subscribe or buy the equipment, right? Just do it. Who cares if it's not perfectly edited, or let's just get some out there.
Yeah,
Let's just share our stuff and make each other stronger and smarter and wise.
yeah, absolutely. So it starts somewhere. And one of my favorite podcasts is Everything Life in Real Estate by Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry. If you guys haven't listened to that, it's incredible. Search their podcast and you'll find Linda says it multiple times that you got to just get to the 60%. Don't think you're going to get to the 98%. Start at 60 and you'll get to the 98 because you started at the 60. Just go, do something, take action towards that thing. Absolutely. So that's a perfect example. Thanks for sharing. Does anyone else have an example of a limiting belief, something that you feel is holding you back right now?
I do. Mine is my personality. I'm an introvert. And so I struggle with becoming, not that I'll ever be an extrovert, but that I have limiting beliefs that because I'm an introvert that people won't want to work with me, or maybe I'm not going to get the business because I can't just, it's difficult for me to make friends with someone in 45 seconds or less.
Fair. That's good. All right. So that's a true limiting belief. Mel feels like being an introvert could be hindering her from growing her real estate business. So anyone know any introverts that are highly successful in real estate? Like, it would be asking who comes to mind, what activities and what things have they found over the years have helped them be able to be, and are there successful introvert agents? The answer is yes. And their activities may just look different, sound different, or feel different than someone who does prefer the extrovert activities of real estate, like open houses, parties, and making, 10,000 BFFs, right? It's that there could be, emails and call to action mailers. There could be calls, or there could be text messages that are scripted in such a way that now engage someone, and then they get reached back out to you, so that now all of a sudden it's warm calling versus a cold call. So what else comes to mind for you guys when she says an introvert and that she may not be successful as an agent? What other things come to mind?
I'm wondering, do you think critically? So when you look at other people, are you criticizing them in your mind, or do you see charm? Do you see like, oh, that's, and there's no wrong answer because I'm a critical thinker. So in more ways than one. But
No,
criticizing, do you criticize people in your mind, or are you like, oh,
yeah, no, I don't criticize people in my mind. I'm
okay.
pretty positive on that side of it.
Okay.
I see someone that, like, I have an extrovert friend and she's wonderful and she's great. And when I'm around her, I am more open and extroverted. But
so that's your gift, is that if you see the positive and the charm in other people, then that's the one thing that will draw out some extrovert in you. So you can address that, identify that immediately. So like when I see Rebecca, I always envy her hair. And it's kind of weird, but I always comment on her hair because it's always, but she's not offended by that. She works hard at it. So if it's, whether it's a way of complimenting someone or just saying, gosh, I noticed how hard you worked on that project with the homeless, just going straight into lifting them up in something that you see, that will automatically draw that conversation to them, and then you're not going to be in your mind, and then you'll be able to convey your expertise, in Sumner.
right.
Sorry.
Can I also just say that one thing I think is important to do, speaking as someone who is also an introvert, is to recognize the wonderful qualities that go along with that. That, I think we as a culture celebrate the qualities of extroverts rightly so, those are wonderful qualities, but introverts' qualities are wonderful too, and there's power in that. And there's a book called Quiet by a woman named Susan Cain, and it's quiet, being an introvert in a world that can't stop talking or something like that. But she talks about the wonderful things that come along with introversion and how to use those in your life and see them as gifts and not something that's holding you back. And I think that applies to real estate as well, that there are ways that can be a powerful thing in your relationship with clients and in the way that you conduct your business. So
that's good. Thank you, guys. And so can you see how when we stay inside ourselves, it's selfish? When we start sharing and being vulnerable with others like we have just in the last 5 minutes, all of a sudden it's not all about us, it's about them and what they can bring to the table to actually help. And then we feel like we've contributed to each other, and now we feel like we're living a life that's purposeful, because it wasn't just all about me today. It was that I chose to be vulnerable, chose to be open, to receive feedback from other people because I want to grow. And that's what removing your limiting beliefs are. The first step is acknowledging them, which means you have to take the time to slow down and journal out those thoughts. Find someone trustworthy, get into conversation with someone to just say, like, I've got this thing and I'd really love some feedback. Do you have 30 minutes to just talk this through with me? And be open to thinking about things in different ways. And then ultimately modeling, going to the people who have done what it is, who are who you want to become, and just getting around them as much as you possibly can to start hearing how they live, how they think, how they function in their day-to-day. So that is awesome. Okay, we are gonna share our packet and keep moving forward here. We're gonna wrap up in just a minute. So here, the follow-up, the action is write down steps and incorporate them into your 411. So I know now, like, Sloane's been vulnerable. So I know, because I love her, I'm going to bring this up again. And I won't, I'm not going to pound or hound her. I'm just going to, like, hey, like, what's the one thing you've done to, like, move this thing forward? If it's important to you, I want to help. What could I do? If I see someone who's doing it, I'm going to, like, hey, introduce them or send a link or do something to follow up and encourage her to keep moving forward towards whatever it is that she says is important to her for right now. And using the 411 tool is huge, because it's that tiny little baby step, and it's just this one little thing I'm committing to doing in the next week, so that this time next week when we talk, I'm going to feel like I did something. I took action. I implemented. Something's going to change in my life because I'm going to go and do this thing. So of all the different things we've talked about right now, I'd love to hear, I'd love to hear your ahas. What are your takeaways? What is it that you have heard as we've shared in the last 30 minutes? So you can unmute yourself and just share some of your takeaways.
I'll share. I didn't realize that something was really eating at me, and so that I didn't realize I've been sabotaging myself. And so it's kind of nice to bring that to the forefront. And so now that I can face it and then move forward.
That's awesome, Rachel.
Thanks.
Who else?
Well, who can't relate to what Rachel just said? Let's maybe.
Absolutely. And that's the part, is as I was preparing for this class, I was struggling, like, mentally. I was just like, I have so many of my own right now that I'm just like, yikes. So for me, mentally, it was going back to pictures, because that's what motivates me. It was going back to the vision board, and then it was going back a few vision boards, and then it was literally searching on Facebook, which I think is so cool. It's easier on your phone, in my opinion, than on a desktop, unless you found the secret. You can literally go on your phone to Facebook, on your own profile and then hit search pictures and say which year, which month you want to look back on. So I would encourage and challenge all of you right now, go and do that. Go back 5 years today. Snap a picture of whatever shows up and whatever emotion, whatever that means, and text it or email it to me and tell me how you've grown. Tell me how you've changed 5 years from right now. Because when that picture on Facebook memory popped up of me, I bought a house, I just was like, well, shoot, if you can overcome that, what else could you overcome of the things that you're struggling with and wrestling with right now? And so I think activities of looking back, you don't want to get stuck in the past, and the past is such a great way to testify to the breakthroughs that you have experienced before. And then being proud of yourself is a good thing. I'm proud. Like, I'm proud to say the Rebecca that I am today does not think the same as that single mom who was thinking, like, it's not possible for a single mom not to struggle. I'm proud of that. And you should be proud of the growth that you've experienced in your life too. So that's 6 personal perspectives, removing your limiting beliefs. And our next session next week is going to be accountability. And as always, if you are just chiming in and you need the packet, the student packet that we're working out of, don't hesitate to email me at rebeccad@kw.com. I'm happy to send you the packet and links and anything that you need. And thanks so much for contributing to making today a really powerful session, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday.
There's stuff in the chat channel you guys may want to check out before you hang up.
Let's look at the chat. Ooh, Kelly Harvey is in our, every time I say or think I can't exposes a limiting belief. Then reframe, then say reframe, then express it as a takeaway or leave it. Is this in line with my big why? Then rewrite it. If it's not in line with my big why, then I say, that's okay. That doesn't bless you. And Kendall says, oh, I'd like to take that class.
That's the vision board class.
Okay, we'll make that happen. We're going to host an online vision board party because it's time for us to kind of recalibrate and reset. 2020 looks different in many ways, so we may need to make a few changes on our boards, which is fine. Both you and Sloan have loved me enough to tell me the truth. Okay. I'm not even the same person I was 5 years ago. Kendall, you are so not. Oh my gosh, I can testify to the girl who used to ignore me. I have watched you become softer, stronger, and warm these last few years. You're amazing, Kendall. Ditto that, Kendall. Okay. All right, everyone. Go and have a wonderful Wednesday. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, guys.